The Forbidden Planet commander Ryan Holt had never seen a planet like this before. His ship spun out of control in a storm of green lightning. Alarms screamed as flames burst from the engines. He pulled the emergency lever and prayed the escape pod would not tear apart in the storm. A flash of light blinded him, and then silence filled his ears. When he opened his eyes, the crash site was surrounded by glowing blue plants that swayed like they were alive. The air was warm and heavy with sweet scent. He pulled off his cracked helmet and realized he could breathe. That was impossible. This world had been marked as dead for 200 years. The system logs called it Varelia Prime. He checked his wrist device. It blinked red with static, no signal, no rescue. He was alone as he stood up. The soil under his boots pulsed faintly. Like a heartbeat, Ryan froze, looking around at the strange jungle. It was quiet, too quiet. No animals, no wind, only the soft hum from the glowing vines that climbed over ruins of ancient towers. He walked toward the remains of a great gate covered in golden symbols. His translator flickered and whispered one word, "Forbidden." Ryan frowned. Touching the metal, it was still warm. How could it be? 200 years without life. Yet something here was awake. As he entered the broken city, the light around him began to change color, from blue to deep violet. Tall statues of women lined the roads, each one carved with sad eyes and hands reaching to the sky. Ryan whispered to himself, "What happened here?" But his voice echoed like a shout, carried far across the empty streets. Then he heard footsteps, soft and slow like silk brushing against stone. His hand went to his blaster. He turned fast. A shape moved between the ruins. Tall, slim, shining faintly, he raised his weapon. "Identify yourself," he shouted. But the figure did not stop. It stepped out of the mist, revealing a woman unlike any he had ever seen. Her skin shimmered silver under the alien sun. Her eyes glowed faint gold, and her hair floated as if underwater. Ryan's mind froze. The woman stared at him with fear and wonder. She whispered something in a soft voice that the translator couldn't understand, but her tone was clear, disbelief and shock. Soon more figures appeared behind her. 5, then 10, then dozens, all women, all silent, all staring at him as if he were some ghost. The first woman raised her hand, a gesture of command. The others lowered long crystal spears that hummed with energy. Ryan tried to stay calm. "I mean no harm," he said slowly. "I'm from Earth, a human explorer." But when he said human, the word made them murmur among themselves. The air grew tense, one of them whispered. "He carries the old energy," another replied. "It cannot be." They all perished. And a third one cried out, "He is male." Their leader stepped forward, her voice strong but trembling. "Who are you, stranger, and how do you still live?" Ryan took a slow breath. "Commander Ryan Holt, Exploration Fleet. I crashed here by accident," he said. "I don't know what this place is, but I mean no threat." Her eyes softened for a moment, then hardened again. "No man has set foot on Varelia Prime for 200 years, she said. Your kind destroyed themselves and cursed us with hunger and silence." Ryan blinked, confused. "What do you mean, hunger?" he asked, but the words seemed to make the women flinch. Their leader turned her head away, as if hiding pain before he could speak again. His wrist device beeped, glowing bright blue. Waves of energy rippled across the ground. The women gasped, their eyes widened in fear and awe. Some fell to their knees. Others covered their faces, the leader whispered. "The mark of the ancient kings." Ryan looked at the glowing lines on his device. They spread across his skin like living light. "What's happening?" he asked, his voice shaking. The leader approached slowly, her golden eyes fixed on him. "It means the curse is ending," she said softly. "Or beginning again." The vines around them began to move. Flowers opened in waves, releasing golden dust into the air. The city pulsed like a living heart. Ryan took a step back. "I don't understand," he said. "Why is everything reacting to me?" She looked at him with deep sadness. "Because you are what our world lost," she said. "You are what we hunger for." Before Ryan could respond, the ground shook violently. A loud roar echoed through the sky. A giant tower in the distance burst open with light. Streams of energy shot upward into the clouds. Lightning flashed again. The leader shouted something in her language, and her warriors surrounded Ryan. "Take him to the citadel," she ordered. Before the others smelled his presence, Ryan struggled as they led him away. "Others?" he said. "Who else is here?" She turned her head slightly and whispered, "Those who did not survive the hunger." They moved quickly through narrow bridges and glowing tunnels until they reached a massive gate guarded by tall machines shaped like serpents. The gate opened with a deep hum, revealing a floating city of light. Gardens suspended in air, rivers flowing upside down, and towers made of crystal. Ryan stared in awe. "This is impossible," he murmured. The leader turned to him, her expression unreadable. "Welcome to Varelia Prime," she said. "Home of the last daughters of creation." The city lights reflected in her eyes as she added, "You should not have come here, human. Your presence will awaken things that should have stayed buried." Ryan's heart raced, the air buzzed around him. His device glowed again, brighter than before. The leader stepped closer, whispering as the light wrapped around them both. "You have no idea what you've done," she said, her voice trembling. "The planet remembers you." The test of hunger. Ryan's world blurred as the crystal gate closed behind him. Golden light washed over his face, and for a moment he felt weightless. The air inside the city shimmered like liquid glass. Every step echoed softly on glowing stone. Above him floated bridges of light, carrying women dressed in silver robes, their eyes curious and cautious. The leader, the one who had captured him, walked ahead with silent grace. Her long hair glowed faintly as if woven from sunlight. "I am High Matron Ceres," she said, her tone both kind and commanding. "And you, human, stand in the heart of our last refuge." Ryan tried to calm his pounding heart. "You said no man has been here for 200 years, he said. "How can that be possible?" Ceres stopped at the edge of a platform that overlooked the shining city below. "Long ago," she said slowly, "our people lived beside men, but a great sickness came. It spared only women. The males vanished, and we thought their kind forever gone." She looked back at him, her voice lowering. "We survived without them, but at a cost." Ryan frowned. "What kind of cost?" Ceres hesitated, her golden eyes flickered. "You will see soon," she said, and turned toward a great temple that rose above the city like a crystal mountain. Inside the temple, walls pulsed with living light. Floating symbols danced through the air. Women in silver robes bowed as Ceres entered. They looked at Ryan like he was a dangerous relic, an echo of something sacred and cursed. One of the scholars approached with a shining bowl of liquid light. "Matron, his aura is unstable," she said softly. "It reacts with the heart nexus." Ceres nodded. "We must test him." Ryan stepped back. "Test? For what?" Before he could protest, 2 guards gently held his arms. Ceres gestured for him to stay still. "Do not fear," she said. "This will not harm you. We need to understand what you are." The bowl was placed before him, and light stretched out like living smoke. Wrapping around his wrists, it tingled, not painfully but deeply, like it was touching something inside his soul. Suddenly his wrist device began to hum, glowing in rhythm with the light. The patterns on his skin brightened again. Energy pulsed through the room. The women gasped and backed away. Ceres stared in shock. "By the stars," she whispered. "His essence matches the ancient king's." Ryan blinked. "What does that even mean?" Ceres turned to him slowly. "Our world once had rulers who could speak to the planet itself. Their energy kept us alive when they died. The world began to fade," she said. "Your blood carries their echo. You are connected to our lost power." The scholars began whispering to each other, their voices trembling. He could awaken the core. He could bring life again, or destroy everything. Ryan stepped back. "I didn't come here to play God," he said firmly. "I just want to fix my ship and leave." Ceres's expression darkened. "You cannot leave," she said. "The moment you set foot on Varelia, the planet bonded with you. It will not let you go." The floor beneath them pulsed again. Faint vibrations rippled through the air, as if the world itself had heard her words that night. Ceres gave him a small room inside the temple, simple but glowing with soft white light. Food appeared on a silver plate, fruits that shimmered, water that tasted like honey and wind. He sat near the window, staring at the twin moons above, wondering how a planet full of beauty could feel so haunted. Then he heard it in whispers, faint and echoing, coming from the walls. They spoke in a language he didn't understand, but their tone was full of longing. 1,000 soft voices calling out. He stood, walked to the mirror-like wall and touched it. The voices grew louder. Then he saw faint faces forming in the light, all women, all beautiful but hollow-eyed. Reaching toward him, he stumbled back in fear. Suddenly the door opened. Ceres entered, her face pale. "You heard them, didn't you?" she asked quietly. Ryan nodded slowly. "Who were they?" "The echoes of those who could not bear the hunger," she said, her voice shaking. "Their minds live inside the planet now, forever craving what was lost." Ryan frowned. "Hunger for what?" Ceres met his eyes. "For balance, for life. For the other half of creation, she whispered. For men. He swallowed hard. The meaning struck him like a blade. These women had lived generations without touch, without warmth, without the bond their bodies and souls were built for. Before he could respond, the lights flickered. A sharp sound filled the room. His wrist device glowed again, but this time the light was red, the walls trembled. Saris gasped. The Nexus is reacting to you again, she said. But it's not supposed to do that unless... Her words were cut short as the door burst open. A tall woman in dark armor stormed in, her silver eyes sharp as blades. Enough, she shouted. He should be destroyed before he corrupts us all. Ryan raised his hands. Who are you? I am Kelra, commander of the Guardians, she said coldly. And I remember the stories the last time a man walked among us. He brought ruin. Saris stood firm. This one is different. He carries the true energy, Kelra sneered. Or he carries death. She drew a glowing spear and pointed it at Ryan. If the planet responds to him, then let us see his true nature. Before Ryan could move, Kelra struck. The spear tip stopped inches from his chest. Energy flared, blue and gold collided. A flash of light filled the room. When it cleared, Kelra was on the ground, breathing hard, her wounds glowing and then closing before their eyes, healed by the same energy she had tried to unleash. Everyone stood frozen, even Saris looked speechless. Ryan's arm still shimmered faint gold. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, he said quietly. Saris stepped forward, eyes wide with awe. You didn't hurt her, she whispered. You healed her? Kelra rose slowly, confusion in her face. That's impossible, she murmured, touching her side. Well, what are you? Ryan shook his head. I don't know, he said softly, looking at the glowing veins on his skin. But I think your world wants me here. Saris looked at him like she had just seen the rebirth of a legend, her voice barely a whisper. Then maybe, she said. You are the answer to our hunger. Ryan frowned. And what if I'm not? Her eyes met his, steady and haunting. Then we will all die, she said. The room fell silent as the golden light faded, but the whispering voices in the walls grew louder again, whispering his name like a prayer. The awakening morning on Varelia Prime was not like any morning Rian had known. There was no sunrise. The sky itself glowed from within, as if the planet's heart painted light across the air. The city floated in quiet hums. Gardens hung upside down, and rivers curved in the air like ribbons of silver. Yet beneath that beauty was tension, a pulse of energy that followed him wherever he went. He walked beside High Matron Saris toward the Great Hall. Women watched from balconies above, whispering, their eyes full of awe and fear. Ryan could feel their stares, every one of them curious, hungry, alive in ways he didn't understand. Saris spoke softly. The energy you carry has awakened the planet's veins. The soil is alive again, she said. For the first time in 2 centuries, the world is breathing. Ryan looked down at his hands. Faint golden light still traced his skin. If that's true, he said, why does everyone look at me like I'm a danger? Saris sighed. Because you are, she said honestly. Your energy feeds the core, but it also stirs what sleeps beneath it. They entered the Great Hall, where thousands of crystal pillars rose like frozen lightning. Scholars and warriors stood in silence, and Kelra waited in front of the central dais, her silver armor gleaming. Her eyes sharp but conflicted, Kelra stepped forward. The Nexus reacted again last night, she said coldly. We cannot ignore it, Matron. The male is changing the balance. He must be confined. Saris raised a hand. Enough, she said firmly. You saw what he did. His touch healed you. Not harmed, Kelra's jaw tightened. And that is exactly why he is dangerous, she said. The hunger grows stronger around him. The young ones can barely sleep. They dream of his voice calling them. He is feeding the very craving that destroyed our ancestors, the hall murmured, voices rising with fear. Saris turned to Ryan. You see now why we are afraid, she said. Our people's hunger is not of flesh alone, it is a deep connection. Our souls were made to share energy with yours. Without it we weakened, but with too much of it. She paused, her voice heavy. We lost control. Ryan felt the air thicken like invisible hands pressed against his chest. So what happens now? He asked quietly. Saris looked at him with calm sadness. Now, we test the truth of what you are, she said, and motioned toward the glowing chamber behind the dais. The heart nexus waits, Kelra growled under her breath. You will regret this. Ryan followed Saris through a circular doorway. Inside was a great pool of liquid light floating gently like it was alive. Patterns shimmered beneath its surface, the same symbols that had glowed on his skin. Ceres spoke in a low chant. The chamber hummed. "Step forward, Ryan Holt," she said. "Let the planet see your soul." He hesitated, but something deep within pulled him closer. He placed his hand on the surface, and the world exploded in gold in that instant. He wasn't in the chamber anymore. He was standing inside a vast field of stars, surrounded by voices whispering in harmony. Thousands of women's faces appeared like ghosts of light, each one touching his mind, their thoughts flooding into him. Sadness, desire, longing, hope, all mixed together in a wave of emotion so powerful it nearly broke him. "You are the spark," they whispered. "You are the one who will feed the world," Ryan gasped. The golden energy wrapped around him like a storm. His memories flashed, his home, his ship, the crash and all burning away into light. Then he saw Ceres and Kelra standing beside him in the vision, but their eyes were glowing like stars. Ceres reached out her hand, her voice calm. "You see now what we are bound to," she said. "The Nexus connects every living Varelian mind. It keeps us together, it feeds our unity. But it also drains us without balance. We die slowly." Kelra looked away, her face torn between anger and pain. "And now, this human feeds it without dying," she said. "No male has ever survived the connection." The voices around them grew louder. Chanting his name, Ryan's knees buckled. The energy pulsed through his body like fire and lightning. "Make it stop!" he cried. Ceres grabbed his arm. Her touch sent a surge of warmth through his veins. "Breathe, let it flow," she said. "Don't fight it. You are part of it now." Ryan took a deep breath. The storm slowed, the golden light dimmed, and the chamber returned. He fell to his knees, trembling but alive. Ceres knelt beside him, her eyes soft. "You did not die," she whispered. "That means the Nexus has accepted you." Kelra watched from the shadows, her voice low. "Or it has chosen to consume him slowly." Ryan looked up, his voice rough. "What does this mean?" Ceres stood. "It means you are now tied to our world," she said. "Your heartbeat is its heartbeat. Your pain will be its pain. And your death may be its end." The ground beneath them rumbled. Faint cracks of light spread across the walls. Energy surged up the pillars, spilling into the city beyond. Alarms rang through the halls. Kelra shouted, "It's feeding off him, matron. Stop it before it's too late." Ceres ran to the central console, trying to stabilize the flow. "The core is not rejecting him," she said. "It's awakening." Outside, the floating gardens began to bloom at once. Colors bursting across the horizon. Rivers sparkled with life. Birds that had vanished centuries ago returned in swarms of light. The citizens gasped in wonder as the world came alive again. But not everyone celebrated. Some Varelians fell to their knees, clutching their heads, overwhelmed by the rush of energy flooding through the Nexus. Their eyes glowing gold. Ryan staggered. "What's happening to them?" Ceres whispered. "The hunger, it's returning. Your energy is feeding them all." Kelra drew her weapon again, pointing it at him. "He will burn us from the inside," she shouted. "This must end now." Ryan tried to speak, but his body trembled. His eyes glowed faintly. He could feel the heartbeat of the entire planet inside his chest. Thousands of souls whispering his name, begging for his touch. Ceres caught his face in her hands. "Ryan, listen to me," she said softly. "You are the key, but if you don't control it, this planet will tear itself apart." He stared into her golden eyes. "Then teach me," he said. "Tell me how." Ceres looked at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "There is a way," she said, "but it will demand everything you are." Kelra's voice was a low growl. "You cannot trust him." Ceres turned, her tone like steel. "Then may the stars judge us both." Ryan looked at the glowing horizon, the planet alive and trembling with power, and whispered under his breath, "What have I become?" The choice. The city of Varelia Prime glowed brighter than ever, yet its beauty carried a shadow. The air shimmered with restless energy. Buildings pulsed like veins under starlight, and whispers filled the wind, calling Ryan's name wherever he went. He could feel them, the countless Varelian souls connected to the Nexus, breathing through him, craving something he could not describe. Warmth, life, presence, the very essence of being. Ceres guided him through the great bridge that led to the heart chamber. Her voice calm but heavy. "The planet is alive now." "Ryan," she said softly, "but it's unstable. The Nexus feeds on your energy faster than it can balance." Ryan's steps were slow. Every movement felt heavy. "You said there's a way to control it," he said. "Tell me how before it destroys us all." Sarah stopped at the door, looking at him with golden eyes full of pain and hope. The Nexus was made to bond with two, she said. A female conductor and a male counterpart. Without both, it falls into madness, Ryan frowned. So you mean I have to connect with it? With you? Saris nodded slowly. Yes, through me, she said. I am the last living conductor, born to guide the heart if we join our energies. We might stabilize the flow and bring peace back to the planet. Kalra appeared suddenly from the shadows, her armor reflecting the pulsing light. Or you'll doom us all, she snapped. You don't know what you're playing with, matron. You've seen what the hunger did the last time. It consumed entire generations. Saris turned sharply. Enough, Kalra, I remember, she said, her voice trembling. I also remember the centuries of silence. The children who never drew breath again. Ryan stepped forward, his eyes steady. What happens if I refuse? Saris met his gaze. Then the Nexus will keep drawing from you until either you die or the world burns, she said softly. The choice is yours, Commander. For a long moment, no one spoke. The chamber hummed quietly, light rippling across the crystal walls like ocean waves. Finally, Ryan exhaled slowly. If there's even a chance I can save this world, he said, I'll take it. Saris nodded, her expression unreadable. Then come, she said, leading him toward the center of the heart chamber. A circular platform suspended above a glowing chasm. Below it, rivers of gold and blue energy flowed like living fire. She extended her hand. You must trust me completely, she whispered. If you hesitate, it will break us both. Ryan took her hand. Their palms touched, and the moment their skin met, a surge of warmth exploded through them. The platform lit up in golden light. Tendrils of energy wrapped around their bodies, merging their pulses into one. Outside, the whole city trembled. Energy waves rippled through every structure. Vines bloomed in seconds, air shimmered like glass. The Varelian people fell to their knees, feeling a flood of life rush into them. Saris gasped, her voice shaking. It's working. I can feel the balance returning. Ryan clenched his jaw, the light burning through his veins, his voice strained. It feels like the planet is inside me. It is, Saris whispered. Let it flow through your heart. Not your mind. The Nexus listens to emotion. Not logic, but as their energy deepened, something else stirred. A dark pulse rising from beneath the Nexus. A shadow that had waited centuries, forgotten and buried. Kalra, watching from the platform's edge, felt it too. The ground beneath her feet cracked with blue fire. Matron, stop! She shouted. Something's wrong. Saris's eyes snapped open. The golden glow in her irises flickered with fear. No, it can't be. A deep rumble echoed through the heart chamber. Voices rose again, but these were not the gentle whispers from before. They were screams, furious, hungry, desperate. The souls that had been lost in the ancient war of genders had awakened, drawn by Ryan's power. Feed us, they cried. Give us life again. Ryan staggered, pain flashing across his body. What's happening? He shouted. You said this would bring balance. Saris tried to steady him, but her own energy flared out of control. It's the lost ones. They're too many. They're feeding on us both. Kalra leapt onto the platform, grabbing Saris's arm. Break the bond, matron, or he will be consumed. Saris shook her head violently. If I break it now, the planet will collapse. Ryan's vision blurred. Golden and blue light clashed around him. The ground split, and images filled his mind, women crying, planets dying, cities turning to dust. All of it the memory of their pain, their loneliness, their endless hunger. I can't hold it, he shouted. It's too much! Saris cupped his face with trembling hands, her voice breaking. Then let it take you, let it see your truth, Ryan Holt. Show them what humanity is. Her words cut through the storm. He closed his eyes, forcing himself to breathe, to focus not on the pain but on what he felt. Empathy, compassion, connection. The screaming voices slowed, their tone changing. The fury turned into sadness, into longing, and finally into silence. The light dimmed, the chamber calmed, the rumbling stopped, and Ryan collapsed forward into Saris's arms. Weak but alive, Kalra rushed to them, her face pale. Is it done? She asked. Saris looked around slowly, her golden eyes glowing softly. The core is stable, she whispered. The world is healing. But then she noticed something. Her hands trembled as she looked down at Ryan's face. His skin was pale, his heartbeat faint, the golden light fading from his veins. No, she whispered. He's giving too much. Kalra took a step back, horror dawning on her face. He's dying, she said. He's feeding the entire planet with his life. Saris held him tighter, her tears glowing gold as they fell. He knew the risk, she said quietly. He chose it, the chamber filled with soft light, and the nexus pulsed one last time, a steady, peaceful rhythm that echoed across the world. Flowers bloomed, skies cleared, and for the first time in 2 centuries, Varelia Prime breathed freely. Saris looked up at Kelra with trembling lips. He did it, she whispered. He truly was the one. Kelra's expression softened, a shadow of guilt in her eyes. And now he's gone, she said, her voice breaking, but before Saris could answer, Ryan's eyes flickered open faintly. A weak smile crossed his lips. Not yet, he whispered. There's still one thing left to do. The last man's legacy. The heart chamber was silent now, filled with golden mist that shimmered like breath on glass. Ryan lay at the center, motionless, the faint glow of life pulsing weakly under his skin. The nexus's hum slowed to a heartbeat rhythm, calm but fading. Saris knelt beside him, her trembling hands pressed against his chest. Stay with me, she whispered. The world is alive because of you. Don't leave it yet. Her tears fell onto his armor, glowing softly before vanishing into light. All across Varelia Prime, life bloomed. Forests of light grew from cracked stone. Rivers once dry flowed again. The sky turned deep blue for the first time in centuries. The people of Varelia stood in awe, their hunger replaced by warmth and peace. But in the heart chamber, the man who made it happen was slipping away. Kelra stood at a distance, her armor cracked and her face shadowed by guilt. He's given everything, she said quietly. The nexus is full. The balance is restored. If he keeps feeding it, he'll die. Saris looked up at her, eyes red but fierce. Then I'll give him mine, she said. If he gave life to this world, I can give him life in return. Kelra stepped closer, her voice low. If you bond again, matron, the nexus will take you too. We need you to lead the new age. Saris shook her head. The new age does not need leaders, she said softly. It needs balance, it needs hope. And he is the symbol of that. She leaned down and pressed her forehead to Ryan's, her golden hair mixing with his dark, whispering words in the ancient tongue. Light rose around them, soft and pure. The nexus pulsed once more, slow, strong, alive. Ryan's breath returned, faint at first, then steady. His eyes opened weakly, the gold light fading to soft warmth. You did it, he whispered, voice rough but alive, the world. It's beautiful again, Saris smiled through tears. You did it, Ryan Holt, she said. You gave us life, and in doing so, you became part of us. He looked at her, weak but peaceful. What happens to me now? He asked. Saris brushed his cheek. You will live but differently, she said. Your essence is tied to the nexus now. As long as the planet breathes, so will you. But not as before, Ryan blinked slowly. So, I'm part of the planet? She nodded. You are its guardian, its pulse, she said softly. You are the first and the last man of Varelia. Kelra bowed deeply, for the first time showing true respect. Forgive me, she said quietly. I doubted you. Yet you saved us all. Ryan smiled faintly. You were protecting your people, he said. Never stop doing that. Outside, the nexus light spread across the sky, forming an aurora of gold and blue. The people watched in awe as voices whispered through the wind. The voice of Ryan, calm and steady, echoing across the world. Live well, the voice said. Remember who you are, and never let hunger rule your hearts again. Generations later, the story of the last man became legend. Children were told of the human who came from the stars, who gave life to a dying world and became its heart. His name whispered with gratitude each dawn when the sky glowed gold. At the center of the city, the heart chamber stood unchanged, its walls alive with light, and in its core was a statue. A man with one hand outstretched toward the stars, and a woman standing beside him, their forms carved in shimmering crystal, eternal, united. Kelra became the protector of the nexus, leading the new guardians. Her once cold heart softened by what she witnessed. Saris's name was sung as the Mother of Renewal, and every year, the people gathered to honor the human who gave them back their future. Sometimes, when the wind was still and the nexus glowed softly, the people swore they could hear his voice again, faint but kind, whispering from the golden mist. They lived 200 years without men, the voice said, but one human taught them what it meant to be alive again. And so, Ryan Holt, the last man of Varelia Prime, became more than a savior, more than a legend. He became the eternal heartbeat of a world reborn. End of story.